imagination is a powerful place. Many of you know that. You may know some people that imagine things and they make it their reality, even though it's their imagination, right? It can either help you establish some leverage in your life, the imagination, or it can take over you so deeply that you go into the deep end of your life. Imagination, it goes a long way. But the reality is, control is what the imagination is all about. You can't let your imagination take control to the capacity that you forget there's a reality that we still must reside in, even if we don't want to. The imagination be so good sometimes, right? But we got to come back to reality, because the reality is where we dwell, right? And we can't let our imagination run that free. It can run free, but not to the capacity where we forget our whole reality, right? Talking about imagination, okay? My poem tonight was called Free Imagination, and I'm getting to the talk about why I wrote the poem, all right? I always like to give a little synopsis so you can know what was in the brain of the writer, right? That'd be me. So, our imagination can run free. And I don't mind that, it lets me go to some place that I would like to be, because, it's an escape from reality for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, so we let the imagination take us someplace that we would like to be. An escape from reality, because that escape sometimes is a great stress reliever. When you are living in a reality and physically you can't get up and get away, all right, and you want to, but because things are stressing you out, but you can't, a good imagination works. As long as you have control. As long as you have control, okay? You can't stay in imaginary world, because unfortunately, some people live in delusion that way. We have that happening a lot now today, right? But while we are living in the physical reality, where we must stay put physically sometimes, at least we can escape with our imagination. So this poem is about creating a place for yourself outside of this whole reality of world, a whole reality of life, right? It's about, putting yourself, am I spinning? Sorry. Putting yourself outside of reality, inside of the imagination, an imaginary place that is comforting for you. An imaginary place that is soothing. An imaginary place that gives you happiness, joyfulness, peacefulness. That place that is available when you cannot physically get away. Now, we all know that life can be so hectic. So that's why I wrote this poem, because sometimes I do take my place to the imaginary world. When I'm dealing with things, I have my business, I have bills, and, I have life, and I want to maintain my happiness. I make sure my peace takes precedence over everything, okay? I'm not the person that, like I said in my Give Me My Rights quotes earlier this week, I'm not the person that cares if somebody dislikes me. Because you have to have a source, right? So my peace takes precedence over your dislike. So if someone dislikes me, I really don't care unless you can tell me a good reason why you don't, and let me try to reconcile or fix it. Other than that, I'm non-caring. Because I want to keep my peace. That place that is available when I cannot physically get away, my peace is there. My peace is there. Because life can be so hectic, and even the smallest things, the tiniest things sometimes can add a little bit of stress or worry to our lives, and sometimes they're so small and minute, but they are impactful, you know what I mean, that we can't avoid it, making us feel like things are just always out of control. We don't want things to be out of control, but sometimes it has to get out of control so we can cap it and control it, right? But when it takes a little bit more time, sometimes I want to dip out of that and just go into my imagination. Again, where it's comfortable, happy, joyful, free. And although I come back and deal with reality, I like that imagination part. That imaginary place that some of us all have in our head, is where we go to make things feel better, sometimes look better, right? Sometimes, sidebar, I've gone places and, brought outfits and was like, I'm going to be cute in this outfit, right? And got there and took a picture, and then the situation was over and got home and said, I hate the way I look, But in your imagination, you can always look great. In your imagination, you can always feel great. In your imagination, you can always be safe, right? The imagination should be the decent place where creation is made, where you think of yourself being in a better situation. So when you come back into reality, you can act on that very good situation in that decent place that you've seen in your imagination. That's what it should be, okay? The imagination should be the place where the water is blue, right? And the skies are blue. And everyone in that imagination is financially content. So they're happy. They feel free. They don't feel constrained by any means. Imagination. There's no homelessness in my imagination. There's nothing overwhelming in my imagination. There's no stress. Just all good things that people would like to have for their lives in my imagination. And I imagine that everyone's imagination should be that way. So for this reason, I wrote that poem. Because when we can't get out and escape, sometimes life consumes us. And we can't get away. You know, I can't hop on a flight and go where I want to go because I got to deal with stuff here. Right? But I can certainly hop on a flight mentally and sit somewhere that I would like to be just for a few minutes, knowing that I have to come back to reality. You know, at least I can get away if just for a few minutes, find an escape just to keep my head right, keep my mind right, keep myself in the game and take care of things. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Dontrell. Oh, thank you for joining me, Dontrell. I do appreciate it. Thank you for following me. Thank you. Guys, please be tapping the screen. Send your love taps. I would appreciate it. Let's keep the algorithm going. Okay? Yes. Got me some good music playing. A couple of classics and stuff. All right? And all of my songs tonight deal with the imagination. Okay? So now, just good things. Just good things that people would like to see for their lives is where we can journey ourselves in our imagination. I took all of those good things that I thought people would like to enjoy for their lives, and I kind of bottled it up, all right, into my imagination so that I can go inside of this poetry, right, and sit in that place just by writing it. Free imagination. When life gets overwhelming, free imagination. All right? Because at the end of the day, there comes that good old reality ruining everything. All right, all of that good imagination, the mental escape, you know, to get away from the stress and the mess. All right, the joy, the goodness, and everything that you can think about. The fact is that reality must come back. Please be tapping the screen. Send your comments. All right, I would appreciate that. You are in the poetic flow tonight, honey, with Nadine. Poetry one. One word, one number. Okay, guys? But yes, we live in a reality. And from the looks of things, right? I have a question here. Let's see. Oh, I am poetic. Yes. Thank you for following me. I appreciate it. Reality will come in and steal that free imagination. And that is why every chance that we get when we feel a little stressed or we feel overwhelmed, we got to sometimes take a trip back there. You know, so that way, when you come out of thinking about those good, reality comes in and it'll ruin all of that free imagination. Because the imagination is a place where you can control where you at. You can get off at any stop if you're riding a train. You can park in any location if in your imagination you drive a nice car. And you can drive a nice luxury car. If you don't have a Maybach in your imagination, you can drive one. It takes you to places that you would like to be, or places that you saw somebody else go, or places where you wonder how it would be if you had an escape to go there. But when you come back to reality, although it ruins everything, the reality when you're stressed out, you done went to that beautiful imaginary place and now you're back here and got to deal with it. Although it can ruin, you know, the imagination, at least you come back from a mind trip mentally prepared to deal with life challenges because you've already seen yourself where you actually would like to be. And the only way that we can get to where we want to be really is to sometimes take a dip into an escape of our imagination to see ourselves sitting pretty and happy and joyful, cheerful, you know, not worried, okay, not overwhelmed, just worry-free, okay, in an imaginary place. And when we come back, we can prepare ourselves to get right there. Because the reality is those imaginary places that we want to be, all right, they can become our reality. We can make it that. You know, they say that if you can see it, you know, it can become a part of your heart, and then you can go and live it. So that's why I wrote Free Imagination, because I want us to always be able to find an escape, especially for 2026, with so much going on, all right? we can certainly use free imagination as an escape. Just remember to come back, because like it or not, reality is reality. I'm just saying. Reality is reality, okay? So you got to come back. Because some people do lose their mind staying in their imagination of things and even get mad when you do not imagine what they imagine for themselves as their reality. Make sense? Some people live in their imagination too long and it's wrong. They make decisions based on their imagination when it's not the reality of things, okay? And sort of, kind of, that's when a professional might be worthy. You know, one preferably with a white coat and some straight jackets required. Because those people can't find their way back from the imagination. Hi, Pharaoh. Pharaoh. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking the live. I appreciate it, guys. Please be tapping, tap. All right, guys, I appreciate it. But yes, we don't want you to stay in your imagination. We just want that to be a place where you can envision yourself being somewhere perfect, okay? And then come back into reality, handle things the way they're supposed to be handled, even though stressful, overwhelming things that life hits us with. Anywho, we come back and we're able to deal with it better because we took ourselves on a mental escape to give us some calm, to give us some resolve, and show us what happiness can look like potentially for our lives. Free imagination. End of the poetry, end of the night. Now, guys,